The stage is set. The bright lights are on. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 75. And I am joined, as always, by Mr. Robert Palin.
How's it going, man? How are you?
I'm very well. And
Very
I'm
well.
Noel O'Keefe. Long weekend. Cork. Cork Cage Legacy. But let's not look at that. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on audio, hit the subscribe button. Do it. Especially, not especially, on YouTube. Hit that button down there. You'll see all our videos.
Do it.
And go back through the back catalogue. Same on Android or iTunes. Check them out. Shout out to our sponsors, Fight Store Ireland, The Fighter's Choice. Everything you need under that one roof. Be it groin guards, shin pads, best of boxing gear. Look after them. They also look after a world champion. MMAmix.com. Everything you need. They're quality. All your MMA needs, mate. They're obviously good because they're with obviously Fight Talk. They do things a little different, but it's a little different in a good way. And then to feelsupreme.co.uk for all your CBD oils and many organic natural supplements and whole foods. Check them out. They're new at obviously Fight Talk. This is week 3 with them, but everything online, go on. You'll get 10% off if you use the fight. If you use the code at the end at the checkout, Fight Talk. Check them out.
Help you.
Help us. Help you. Help them. Help us. Perfect. Chinese athletes. The Olympic team won 5 world championships using this stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no dogs in it. It's all 100%
You might win
natural.
one.
Yeah. At the
slogan.
end, at the checkout, type in Fight Talk. This week, Rob.
I am looking forward to this.
Yeah. If you watch Luke Thomas or you follow any videos and stuff, you've been following the Maymac, you might have come across Eric Kelly. Eric Kelly is a boxing coach out of New York, the Bronx in New York. A character is probably an underestimation of this guy. If you want to feel insulted but yet laugh at the same time,
I'm expecting
talking
to
to
feel
him,
insulted.
this is the man to talk
Yeah.
to. He has a very unique opinion. And he's very strongly worded about his opinion of this fight between Mayweather and McGregor. So we'll be chatting with Eric Kelly later on. Do not miss it. I would imagine we will look like a couple of dopes in this conversation. We'll also be joined by, we're not saying he's the best, we're just not saying there's anyone better. Brendan Dorman will be breaking down UFC Fox 25, Gastelum and Weidman bout, and a little bit more maybe. And we will be looking ahead to the monster card that is UFC 214, and Brendan will be with us on that as well, so we'll be breaking down that card. But let's dive straight into it and get on the phone. Let's ring America, Rob. Let's ring America. Let's ring New York. Eric Kelly. Enjoy. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk. For the people watching on YouTube, you will know, but for people listening on audio, you're about to find out. We are joined by world famous, viral sensation as well, but legendary boxing coach Eric Kelly. So Eric, thanks a million for taking the time to come on to obviously Fight Talk.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate you 200%.
Eric, I came across Paddy Cronin, mutual friends of ours, when we were talking to Paddy about Mayweather. He said you got to get a good friend of mine on the show, and he dropped your name to break things down. So we got to thank Paddy for that hook up straight away. But then as soon as Paddy put me onto you, I seen a video with you with Luke Thomas. Where you were at Mayweather McGregor presser in New York, and it went pretty big. So has your thoughts differed in any sense with the fight, or how are you feeling about McGregor Mayweather?
It is what it is, and I understand that boxing, people don't understand this. A fighter is an entertainer. It's the entertainment industry. You got to put asses in seats. At the fights, they sell popcorn. They sell hot dogs. They sell beers. They sell sodas. Same shit they sell at the circus. Same shit they sell at the movies. Same shit they sell at the concerts. It's entertainment. I don't understand why people don't understand this is the entertainment industry. But you got a lot of motherfuckers out there that they rather see a dog with a diamond in his ass than a nigga with a bone. And what I mean by that is they hate to see a motherfucker happy, doing this thing, getting this money, entertaining, and doing what he does. You know what I'm saying? Take a guy like Floyd Mayweather, for example. Floyd Mayweather done fought over 20 world champions, beat them all, former world champions, current world champions, whatever. He fought them and beat them all. He's a U.S. Olympian. Count the Hall of Famers he beat. Don't just count the world champions he beat. Count the Hall of Famers that he beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now take Condom McGregor, for example. Condom don't got as many fights as Mayweather, but Condom done fought, Nate Diaz is in a good share of champions. You feel me?
Yeah.
So you got two elite athletes in their sports, and they going at it. But the populace, I don't know what it is over there where y'all at, but here in America, I feel there's a lot of motherfucking hating going on.
Mm-hmm.
You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Over some dumb shit. It's entertainment industry, motherfuckers. Everyone loves and raves over Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. And I agree that he's the greatest. I agree. Ali fought Antonio Inoki.
Yeah.
Now, was the grandparents of today's haters, was they hating on when Ali fought Inoki? I don't know, because maybe this shit is genetic. Maybe it run in their blood. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I understand what it is. It's entertainment. And if you're a boxing fan, you stupid. If you're a boxing fan, I really question how much of a fan you are for this fight. Because Floyd Mayweather's a boxer, right? One of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Condom McGregor, a UFC fighter, MMA. Now, Condom is coming into boxing to fight Floyd. This is not like when James Toney fought Randy Couture in an MMA fight. Mm-hmm. This is not that. Right now, boxing has the upper hand. Who's the number one athlete in this fight? Floyd Mayweather. Who's the draw? Floyd Mayweather. Who's the A-side? Floyd Mayweather. So if you're a die-hard boxing fan and you love boxing, how the fuck could you get upset over a boxer having an upper hand throughout this whole thing and they fighting in a boxing match? After all, isn't boxing's biggest competitor MMA, UFC? People say, oh yeah, UFC is destroying boxing, it's killing boxing. Meanwhile, we got a UFC fighter, the top fighter fighting the top boxer in a boxing match. And the top athlete throughout the whole thing is a boxer. So if you're a boxing fanatic fan, how the hell can you get upset when boxing has the upper hand? UFC has the UFC doesn't have the upper hand. Boxing has the upper hand.
Do you see any way, though, Eric, of Conor winning this? Like, people are saying, we had Wayne McCullough, former WBC bantamweight champion, on with us last week, and Wayne was saying with the right tactics, he could win. If Conor adopted the right tactics, and if Floyd's reflexes aren't what they were a couple of years ago, Conor's got this chance. Do you see a way, but from watching any of Conor's previous fights, in a way he could possibly get this, let's call it like the biggest upset in boxing history, because that's what it would be? Do you see any way this can happen?
No. I mean, a one-hitter quitter can get anybody at the end of the day. We know a one-hitter quitter can get anybody. But Floyd Mayweather has forgotten more than Condom McGregor knows. You know what I'm saying? Mm. So, even Floyd out of shape, not out of shape, but not fresh and sharp as he was in the past, because he's been off for 2 years from boxing. So even a rusty Floyd knows how to survive. Like I said, a one-hitter quitter get anybody. But we got to say you got one of the more elusive and fast and sharp and best boxers of all time. Even when he loses something, he's still above average. You can't go from great to ordinary.
That's something he said as well.
Even when he loses something, he's still above average. Look at Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Roy Jones Jr. went from great. He beat Antonio Tarver in their first fight, good 12-round decision. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go from great to terrible. I mean, he started getting knocked the fuck out, but he won a couple fights in between.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He didn't go from great to terrible. He still can compete. He still can compete at the championship level. Can he win the championship? Obviously not. But he beat a lot of contenders. Think about it.
So
he beat a lot of contenders, to Anthony Henshaw's, He beat a lot of the contenders.
Well, that's something that Floyd said, though, as well. I think it was at the New York presser where he said, you know, I'm not fast, I'm not as powerful, I've lost reflexes, but I'm still good enough to beat you. Is that do you think that's just trying to get into Conor's head, or is that fact?
I think it's selling the card. That's what I think it is. I think it's selling the card. I think that this Floyd knows that he got the people's eyes and ears on this, and they listening, and they want to hear that. Oh, I'm not the same Floyd. They want to hear. I mean, you got to make it seem like Conor got some kind of a chance, don't you? Mm-hmm. Think about it. Use your head for more than a hat rack. You got to. Seriously. You got to make it. You got to make it seem as if Condom has some kind of a chance, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, how can Floyd get up and say, "Yeah, man, he's an MMA fighter. I'm one of the best boxers of all time. I'm just gonna wipe this guy out in the first round. He don't belong in the same ring as me." Is that gonna sell the fight?
Yeah.
When people already got that feeling and thought in their brain that he don't belong in the same ring with you, and subconsciously they know it.
Conor McGregor, to argue that
sell the fight, no.
We'll argue the Irish and the MMA side of it, but Conor McGregor is in the prime of his life. He's young, sharp, strong, but yet you still think a 40-year-old, 41 when he steps into the ring.
How long has he been in the prime of his life?
Well, they always say the sweet spot is between.
I'm asking you a question. I don't want to hear how long has he been in the prime of his life?
Well, you can argue with the last 2 years he's been in the prime, with the fights he's had.
How the fuck he been in the prime of his life the last 2 years when he just got tapped out last year?
He avenged that loss. Very different. I guarantee you, Floyd Mayweather.
That shit was close. That decision was tighter than Frog's ass.
I can guarantee
that loss.
I can guarantee you.
In his prime, they don't lose.
I can guarantee you, Floyd would tap like a bitch if they got into the octagon.
You talking to a fool? What kind of fool is you? Who you think you're talking to, a fool? Did Ali lose in his prime? Did Roy Jones lose in his prime? Did Mayweather lose in his prime? Did Tyson lose in his prime? What do you mean the prime of his life? Did Anderson Silva lose in his prime? Huh?
MMA is a very different game.
We can go further back than that. Did Royce Gracie lose in his prime?
Oh, we just dropped you there. Just as it's getting heated.
He's back.
Did Ken Shamrock be in his prime? How he was in his prime? You don't lose in your prime.
So you
Did Ken Shamrock, Royce Gracie, Anderson Silva, Mike Tyson,
you give no credit for moving up 2 weight classes.
Did Evander Holyfield lose in his prime? How do you lose in your prime? You don't lose in your prime. Did Pernell Whitaker lose in his prime? Who loses in their prime? He was in his prime. Oh, he was in his prime because you said he was in his prime? Well, who the fuck is you?
Do you not give any validation to the knockouts of the likes of Jose Aldo, Chad Mendes? He's beaten Max Holloway, that some consider he's the number 1 in the featherweight division now in the UFC. Conor McGregor's the lightweight champion in the UFC. That carries no water for you.
Okay, those guys you named. Mm-hmm. Those guys you named, between those guys, how many championships that they had, world titles that they have between them?
Well, there's a good few in MMA.
In MMA,
it is different.
I'm asking you a question. I want to answer. I don't want a statement. I'm asking you a question. When you ask the question, you give an answer. Now I'm back to regularly scheduled programming. Those guys that you named, how many world titles were between them?
How many times did Aldo defend his belt? If Aldo was unbeaten for 10 years, Max Holloway has only won his title, so he's only one title.
Between 3 and 5.
Between them, you're looking at 8 titles.
Okay. Now, you got 8 titles, 8 world titles, like world titles?
Yeah.
I got 8 world titles between the 3 of them, right? And Condom beat those guys. Mm-hmm. Now, I can go back to the Tysons and the Roy Jones and all these and the Floyd Mayweathers and the Whitakers, and I can get 20-something titles. Actually, off Floyd, I can get more than 8 titles off just one person, or by two people.
Yeah.
2 people. Same thing with Tyson. Because Tyson is the first fighter to become the undisputed champion by beating the champion of the WBC. Then he beat the champion of the WBA. Then he beat the champion of the IBF. Mm-hmm. When you in your prime, you don't lose, man.
Why are people so interested at this stage? And if it's this clear and it's that black and white that this is what's going to happen, this is the result, Mayweather wins, why are we all so interested? Why is everybody talking about it? Are we that stupid that we've just been sold on hype?
Didn't I tell you that a motherfucker rather see a dog with a diamond in his ass than a nigga with a bone? Didn't I just tell you that?
You certainly did at the time.
Motherfucker want to see maybe Floyd get knocked out. They want to see that. Mm-hmm. May say, we got to see it. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully, we got to see it. Motherfuckers on the edge of their seat. Like a Michael Jackson concert. Think about it. This is real.
Do you think...
Now, you got... What were you about to say?
Do you think that Floyd Mayweather makes his return to boxing if McGregor wasn't there? Do you think Floyd would come back to fight somebody else? Or do you think that the hype that's around this fight brings him back?
Nah. What are you, crazy? What are you, crazy? Who was that asked me the question? The guy with the black hair? The brunette? The Backstreet Boy looking motherfucker?
Yeah. It's not my opinion, I'm asking the question.
Stop. Keith Thurman, Errol Spence. You got possibly Terrence Crawford. You got Amir Khan. You got Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? You got Sean Porter. Who the fuck is Floyd gonna fight that's gonna bring in more money than Conor McGregor? I think two of them combined, maybe all of them combined, couldn't bring in as much money as Conor. Save for Manny Pacquiao. Let's say Floyd came in for Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, and Danny Garcia. Do you think that's gonna make more money than Conor fight?
No.
So why the fuck would you ask me that dumbass question?
The people want to hear your opinion.
Do you just go around asking dumb fucking questions? Here's dumb question of the day. And I was the lucky motherfucker to get the dumb question of the day.
Right, we're gonna put you on point. What round? Give us your opinion of how the fight finishes. We know you think Floyd wins. How does he win, and when does he win?
I think he wins by decision, a good one. If it's a stoppage, if it won't be a knockout, it'll be throwing in the towel or maybe disqualification because Conor tried to put the nigga in the rear naked chokehold. You feel me?
Yeah.
Perhaps that. I think Floyd is gonna. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, Floyd was on the ropes and Conor landed some shots and got everybody, got the crowd going, because Conor is wailing on Floyd, hitting him in his arms and hitting him in his shoulders and hitting him, or maybe he might bust Floyd lip. Like when Miguel Cotto fought Floyd, everybody said Miguel Cotto fucked Floyd up. And he was getting at some shots, but at the end of the day, when who was rocking? Cotto was rocking. Yeah. Floyd was hitting Cotto and Cotto was stumbling around. I mean, he bust motherfucker Floyd lip. Everybody, he bust Floyd lip. He bust Floyd lip. Listen, Cotto is a future Hall of Fame, a 4-time world champion. He's a fucking Olympian. If he can't bust your lip, then he don't belong in the ring.
What did you think, or did you see any of Paul Malignaggi's comments about sparring with Conor, where he's saying you keep these things in the ring?
I mean, listen, Paulie, my man. I've been knowing Paulie since before he started boxing. Paulie, my man. Meanwhile, it's entertainment, man. It's entertainment industry. You're in the entertainment industry. I'm a big Paulie fan, but you're in the entertainment industry. You got to put asses in asses in seats. How the fuck? Paulie's a fella entertainer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He going there to get that money. He's sparring condom. You know what I'm saying? You got to sell the card.
So again,
you got to sell it from all angles. You got to sell the show. Sell this motherfucker, man. Let's sell it.
So
let's sell it.
I think what's great about this fight, Eric, and it is an obvious statement that the boxing world's going to watch it. Either, as you said, for the haters of Floyd that want to see Floyd get knocked out, then you're going to have the Floyd fans. Conor carries the same in MMA. There's people who love Conor McGregor here in MMA, and then there's people who absolutely hate him and want to see him get beat. So between the two of them, they're bringing both sides of love and hate to the fight. But moving on and talking about you as well, Eric, we know you've a new venture coming up as well with the gym. We've seen there's a viral video of you teaching the Wall Street fighters, where you talk to them, sort of how you've talked to us today. But what's happening for you, my man? What's up for you in the Bronx? I believe you're opening up a new gym.
Yeah, I got my old gym now in the South Bronx called South Box by Eric Kelly. You know what I'm saying? We had French Montana was in the hood over there yesterday. Funkmaster Flex was there last week. You know, we doing our thing at South Box by Eric Kelly. We getting our Eric Kelly on. The gym has only been open for about 6 weeks, you know, less than a couple months. So, it's new right now. I got a lot of kids from the neighborhood coming in doing their thing. A lot of the small business owners, like people who own the flower shop. My guy Mike, the guy who owns the flower shop, he fought in the Golden Gloves back in 95 and 96. And he lost to Zab Judah in the finals. So he made it to the finals of the Golden Gloves, losing to Zab Judah. You know, that's not bad. Yeah. And, you know, I'm just doing my thing at South Box Gym, trying to build it. I want to be one of the top boxing gyms in the Bronx and in New York City. I want to be one of the top boxing gyms in New York City.
No, because I know you spoke about, there was a documentary a while back on Voice about you as well, and how important boxing was to you when you were young. So do you find yourself that that's something you have to give back to the community as well, to give these young guys a chance that you had?
Yes, I got to. I mean, I got to play my part. I mean, I did it as a fighter. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully I was able to inspire some athletes that came after me. And right now I just want to be another outlet for them to do what they got to do, get the condition they need, shape they need, you know, get the teaching they need, and not just teaching the boxing, but teaching the life tips, advice, and stuff like that. And hopefully they can take it to the next level.
And is that something that you want? Again, it's almost like an obvious question, but are you hoping to one day coach a world champion as well? Is that the end goal with these young guys coming into the gym?
Right now, no, that's not my thing. I've never wanted to be a real boxing trainer, coach a real fighter to get to the world title. I've never wanted to do that. You know what I'm saying? I've never wanted to do that. I mean, I still got a lot of guys, a lot of world champions and fighters and stuff today that I know personally and, you know, give my little advice to. We talk, have conversation. I give them little tips and shit like that. But I don't want to be the person to. I don't want to. Right now, maybe in the future. But I'm not saying I want to be the next Emmanuel Stewart or Al Mitchell or anything like that. Or George Washington. I'm not saying that, no.
I have to say, it's been an experience talking to you here. And are you going to be going to the fight, or are you going to be watching at home buying the pay-per-view?
I might go to it. I don't know. I might go to it. If I go to it, you know I'm going to talk prime shit there, boy.
There's another fight that's getting overshadowed by, and that's Golovkin and Canelo. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that? Where'd you see that one go?
I don't even like Canelo. I want Triple G to bust him up.
And do you think that's going to be the outcome?
Say what?
You think he'll get him finished, or it'll be a 12-round
one? I ain't say I think he will. I want him to.
Yeah.
I hope he does.
Again,
he's going to have Triple G got a good jab. Triple G is powerful, obviously. Got good balance, you know, good technique. You know, he's not too fast, but he got enough speed. He got decent movement, you know what I'm saying? And Canelo really, a lot of Canelo wins and stuff, fights, there's always a catch to it. You know what I'm saying? He fought Josecito Lopez when he was a 140, and Canelo was a 54. He fought Amir Khan when he was a 160, and Amir Khan was a 47. He fought an oval shot, Kermit Cintron. I'll give him partial credit for the Miguel Cotto fight, but man, you know Miguel Cotto's not no 160. And Miguel Cotto was past it also at the time. You know what I'm saying? I will give Canelo props for the Lara fight. Lara could have got that. I will give Canelo props for the Trout fight. Trout could have got that. You know what I'm saying? Could have. And it was those kind of fights. You know what I'm saying? He did drop Trout though. So I'll give it to Canelo. He learned a lot from the Mayweather fight. I didn't think he was gonna win it. You know what I mean? but I'm not necessarily a fan of him. The kid got like, what, 50 fights? 50 fights? And you could probably only name 6, 7 elite fighters he fought, if that. How many were in their prime? Think about it. How many were in their prime? How much of his resume is little guys, old guys, and just guys who are not, you know what I'm saying, anything? Yeah. Look at this. Yeah. So Miguel Cotto turned pro at 140. I know I've been knowing Miguel Cotto since 97. I've been fighting with him. You know what I'm saying, for years. I saw the kid from the amateurs on the Junior Olympics in Mexico City in 1997. You know what I'm saying? So I've been seeing Cotto forever. I've been knowing these guys forever. So I know where these guys come from. I know who these guys have been in the ring with.
There's the one statement as well, Eric, that came out about boxing now. Again, you know,
look at Canelo resume and look at Cotto resume.
Yeah, it's the who's who for Triple G. Just a quick one as well. Sorry, just a lot of people said, you know, boxing needs this McGregor-Mayweather fight because boxing isn't what it was. Is that complete bullshit, or is there a bit of truth in that?
It's a little bit of truth. Because now we got competition in fight sports. Before we ain't have competition in fight sports, unless you count the WCW or WWF. In all honesty, and I'm a boxing fan, 200,000 million%. WrestleMania 6 was my greatest I love it. I'd rather watch WrestleMania 6 than any motherfucking boxing card. Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan in the finals, motherfuckers, you crazy? Yeah. I'd rather watch WrestleMania 6.
That was my choice.
Are you an MMA fan?
I can't hear you.
Are you an MMA fan? Are you a fan of MMA?
Yeah, I respect MMA. Yeah, I like it. You know what I'm saying? Am I a fan now? But I respect it. I like it. You know, I know a lot of the fighters. David Branch, you know, the World Series of Fighting champ, you know, middleweight and light heavyweight. King Mo, Muhammad Lawal, my guy, you know. Yeah. I respect it, yeah.
Would you have thrown your...
Allow it.
Would you have liked to have tried it? Would you have liked to try it MMA if you could have?
Nah. Because you know what? If I did, obviously I got the boxing. I know how to wrestle a little bit too, because I got a lot of experience with a lot of wrestlers. I mean, like Olympic champion wrestlers and shit. So I know a lot of wrestlers, good wrestlers, and I've always wrestled around with them a little bit. They fucked me up, but I learned something. You know, but with my boxing, and I would like to learn jiu-jitsu.
And what about WWE? If you got the call, seeing as you're a big fan, would you try it out?
I was a big fan. I ain't been a big fan of WWE since the last pay-per-view I ordered was when Ultimate Warrior beat Triple H. And that was in, what, 90? Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Probably, yeah.
That was 11, like 11 or WrestleMania 12.
Yeah.
That was years ago. WrestleMania 11, that was back in the 90s.
Yes.
I haven't been on it since then.
Yeah, they lost me then as well. I grew up and realised it was... We copped on that it was fake.
Obviously, I was in love with WCW, you know. The NWO, you know, Sting. Colorful Sting. I didn't like the Sting. Black and white score. I like colorful Sting.
I'm lost now. I'm gone. I'm out. This is me cashed out of this one. Listen, Eric, we wish you the best with the gym. Hopefully it goes well with you. We'll have you back on anytime.
I told you motherfuckers, give me several reminders about this call.
That was
you
him.
You niggas text me one. Listen to me. You fuck up a wet dream. What part? And you know what? And you want to know something? I capitalized several.
I seen that. I noticed that.
I capitalized. I said several. That means if you would have gave me like 15 reminders, let me tell you something. My phone is charging in the kitchen. If I went to walk to go to the bathroom and saw my phone charging and saw the text, I would have missed it.
Well, I blame this guy.
Just
saying.
Stop that modest shit. Oh, I didn't want to bother you, mate. Oh, I didn't want to piss
Yeah. We're Irish. We're not English. Do a leprechaun accent.
Irish, English, stupid, same thing.
Oh. The Irish
Not the same thing. Not the same thing. Not the same thing.
Several. I capitalized several.
You did.
I mean,
to be fair. But also, You said you're on Skype once a year, and today's the day. We got you on Skype. Skype, you're welcome. But get your Eric Kelly on Twitter. Follow the man, get following, and we wish you the best endeavours and everything you're doing, Eric. And we'll talk soon. Yeah. Whenever I want to feel insulted, I'll give you a bell.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Get your Eric Kelly on.
Cheers.
Gentlemen, thank you, sir.
Peace, guys.
There you have it. An interview where we've been insulted, we've been everything, but yet you're smiling.
Yeah.
It's the Neil Seery effect.
It's the Neil Seery effect, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has an insight into the Mayweather-McGregor fight quite like Eric Kelly.
Or my stupid questions.
You're backstreet boy fucking. Yeah, when I ask you a question, don't answer it well. Brilliant. Insulted
awesome.
for a good 29 minutes. That was wonderful. Yeah, so check out, and we have to share the clip of Eric Kelly where he is in... he's in training in the gym. He's a job and he's basically the Church Street Boxing Club, where he is training what he calls Wall Street guys boxing, and it's just if you want to laugh, check it out. After you finish laughing,
think of that interview, but with a bunch of Wall Street guys trying to box
instead of us.
Yeah,
English accent at the end. That was weird. So let's move it on and let's recap the UFC that went down this weekend. UFC on Fox.
25.
Kelvin Gastelum, and let's get
the
man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brendan Dorman on the blower. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and again, if you're watching on YouTube, you will see. If you're listening on audio, you're about to find out. We're not saying he's the best. We're just saying there's no one better. Mr. Brendan Dorman hits us up on OFT again. Bren, you man, how we keep him?
What's up, fellas? What's up, everyone? What's going on?
We're looking at to break down UFC, Fox 25. Before we get into the details as well, if you haven't already, I don't know why you haven't. It's like 6th or 7th show with us now. Get on YouTube, type in Brendan Dorman, do yourself a favour, educate yourself by watching the breakdowns. Recent breakdown is Chris Weidman. So listen to this and then go on to it. So we're going to talk, and why not start at the top of the card than Chris Weidman taking on Kelvin Gastelum in the main event on Fox 25. Brendan, what do you think of the fight? We know the breakdown is there, but talk us through a little bit. Don't give all the cards away, and people can go and check it out after.
Yeah, no, it's fine, because spoken word's different than text anyway. As we talked about last week, I kind of thought maybe standing up Kelvin, and then if it went to the ground, I made a very important point that kind of came true, and I don't pretend to be clairvoyant, but it was just that fact that with Gastelum you never saw the ground, a really high level ground game from him, and people sleep on Weidman's ground game, like because of what Romero, an Olympic savage wrestler, like you can't gauge it on that. So I was like, remember everyone, he's a black belt under Henzo and Danaher, and he trains with Matt Serra every day, and that's some serious lineage. Yeah. And it showed. His jiu-jitsu was wonderful, in all facets, really.
Yeah.
And the striking wise, that wasn't untrue either. Kelvin he clipped him at the end of the first, and Weidman kind of when he fell, he kind of grabbed the inside single and postured up, and you notice like the hammer fist, when someone's way down and you have enough leverage to put something behind them, right? There's that. But when you don't have any distance to create that and they're coming up and up, then the hammer fist, like you have no motion to really create that whip. So it was like that was kind of over, and I was kind of surprised, like when the bell rang, how quickly Weidman just kind of got up and went back to his corner. He's cool. I don't know if he was playing it off well or if how bad he got clipped, because he was actually dropped. And an addendum to that same thing is that, Gastelum's chin was holding up really well. Weidman clipped him on that feint shot into the uppercut, and he was clipping him. What I thought was impressive was he was kind of flurrying at first, and then he noticed, like, God, I'm hitting this guy flush, and he's still coming forward. Why don't I kind of pick my attacks better? Yeah. So that was incredible. And then just the way he was manipulating him on the ground with his trips, and he's not really necessarily, like I was saying, but I think I might have said it to you guys. I definitely said it in the breakdown. He doesn't necessarily shoot from a mile away.
Yeah,
His takedowns are leverage-based wrestling almost. Very similar to, most Greco guys, or even the way like Damian Maia does. Obviously, there's more strength there, but it's more technique than it is athleticism, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that was all impressive. And then what I pointed out in my breakdown was the way he listened to his corner was really, really cool. And the camera caught it too, which is a added bonus for me when I'm trying to put it all together. So very impressive win. I mean, no one's done that to Gastelum at all. That was a brilliant head and arm triangle. Technically perfect.
I was coming into what I was saying, I'm a big Weidman fan. I had mentioned, it's like an arc in his arc, and we said how dangerous of a fight this was.
Yeah.
But the risk and the reward was the gamble, and the risk has paid off, and in a way that, for me, I seen it when I think of the Rockhold fight with Weidman. I think Weidman almost got ahead of himself when he tried like the spinning kick. Remember he tried the spinning kick, and that's what I would put forward the argument that Weidman was winning the fight up until that moment.
I think he was, yeah.
And that moment in that fight screwed him. Then he gave away a telegraph takeaway shooting from way out against Yoel that cost him dearly as well. So I thought, what I looking at this was, I seen a real, and a lot of people are complimenting Gastelum in this fight too for his patience, but I thought Weidman's shot selection and his patience, and he used his range really well. You could see him constantly pawing out at Gastelum to feel the distance, and then he was firing the right down the centre. But he also used the front kick similar to the way Conor used it against Mendes. And again, I think it might have been I think it might have been implemented for the same reason, was to tire Gastelum out. Like Gastelum, as much as he's a big guy, he looks soft in that area. And again, when he got it to the ground, it was typical Weidman. He maybe got a little over eager, maybe with the Kimura in the first round. He was in a really good position. And he was setting it up beautifully, but I just think it was brute strength and great defense by Gastelum.
Yeah, I think
defense.
Yeah, I think as you said, we haven't seen Gastelum, especially on his back. We've seen a little bit of him on top because he's a very good wrestler, but we haven't seen him off his back. And I was kind of impressed with a lot of stuff that he done, like that getting up off his back against a big guy. Now, when we was going into this fight, especially because of Gastelum's last couple of fights, I thought, Gastelum, he's smaller at the weight class, but he's been doing really, really well. I think in the grappling exchanges, it was evident. You could see the size difference. I don't know about you, but I could clearly see a huge size difference, especially in grappling. And I'd just be interested to see if Gastelum is going to try get back down to 170. I'd like to see it, even though he has been doing well at the weight class. And he just lost to Weidman, who's not a slouch. But I'd like to see him fight healthily at that weight.
It was like old Weidman to me, but minus the one exchange that he got caught. I love that you guys are picking up on so much technique now. Not that you didn't before, but
lost him.
Why is it always when we're getting compliment now?
Compact, right?
We just lost you for a brief second there. After you said you guys are amazing.
I did. I said you guys are not only handsome gentlemen and scholars. It was full of that's all I said.
No. Stop. Honestly, stop.
Technique. So, with Gastelum being a little bit shorter, a lot of his kind of defensive moves like swiping, and when he should have gotten overhooks, he was kind of overreacting to Weidman's positioning, and you just really saw, to make it as basic as possible or plain language as possible, you kind of saw an MMA black belt when they're on and they're flowing, because I talk about dynamics so often in the striking game, but in the grappling exchanges, there's times to full on smash, hip heavy, head heavy, leading with your head. And there's times to kind of loosen up to allow someone to kind of make a mistake. And that's what he was doing. He was setting little traps, and they're really abstract. I try not to go too deep into that sometimes in the grappling exchanges, because it would take 10 minutes to explain sometimes what is 10 seconds real time, but there were a few that I did point out where he probably should have went for an overhook and kind of overextended. And it was almost like the preview to the head and arm triangle, say the round before. It was kind of there. He was setting himself up to get his arm kind of locked here at the shoulder. It was just because if you notice, Weidman wasn't throwing a lot of punches from the top. It was positional, and a lot of nice takedowns, and he just clasps his hands and goes. It was that was pretty damn impressive. Someone was saying that like to see like Jacare next for him. I think that would be an awesome fight.
Yeah. One thing Rob actually pointed out as well, there's just 2 quick points on it, was number one, when Gastelum put Weidman down, it's insane the wrestler's instinct, even when hurt, just a bank, go for the single.
Yeah.
It's insane how wrestlers just, it's autopilot, give me the single, I'll have it. But then as well, Rob pointed out, and it was at the time when Weidman was going for the head and arm triangle, you could see Matt Serra was talking him through every little bit, and as soon as he got it, Serra reached the longo and gave him the little tap as we're in here, as in pick up the water and towel, we're in. But it was beautiful. It was my favourite when I was rolling. It was my favourite submission to go for
the
as well.
Big man submission.
That's what Rob was saying, the big man submission. But that was my
shoulder
little
pressure into the chin.
I always liked the little head and arm triangle, but it was a great comeback, and it's such. As much as a victory can be measured, this victory can be almost measured in bigger magnitude, because number one, it was in Long Island, New York, and number two, this was breaking the duck and it's getting Weidman. After as he called out Bisping, don't see it happening because I think there's too many in the queue, and Bisping is going tick-tock anyway.
Bisping has to fight Whitaker now.
Yeah, but even at that, it's not going to happen.
Yeah. He'd have to fight Whitaker.
Yeah. Make no sense.
He's gotten a couple layups already.
Yeah.
You got to fight Bobby Knox. I think anyway. Yeah. But back to the head and arm triangle. I just wanted to touch on something real quick.
Yeah.
The way that Weidman's always had really good strength with squeeze. He had a standing guillotine submission win. Years back, I guess, against Jesse something. I forget the guy's name.
Nasty.
But he's always had that squeeze, and you can see, like, he's got real wide shoulders. And with the head and arm triangle, as soon as... Because the way that he did it, and I learned it from the same people he did, the way that he set it up was a little different. He was real, like, loose to start, and his arms were kind of loose rather than pinched. He didn't really go knee on belly that I could see. The camera didn't totally catch it right. But his pressure... from his squeeze alone and just using his head, hence head and arm triangle. That was all perfect. But he didn't even have to come up too high to put the pressure down at that kind of angle. He just scooted his hips out to be, if Gastelum's here straight, he just got his weight over to about there, put the pressure down, and you could see it was like Gastelum tried one buck up, I think just by instinct, which allowed him to sink deeper and pinch his elbows in tighter. And from there, it was like, oh, he's done. There's no way you're getting out.
The transition to it was almost like Gastelum was trying to shrimp and turn into Weidman, the way it was, and Weidman was sort of a mount, and he just stepped across. So the knee belly right didn't really have to happen just by the. But I was sorry, Rob, I know your fingers up there for attention, but I found that Weidman was almost like he was riding the wave, if you know what I mean. Every move Gastelum was making, Weidman was the step ahead, and he was anticipating. And as you said, I agree with you with the shots. He wasn't landing huge shots from the top. He was sort of letting Gastelum create space for him to then set up the next movement, and it was beautiful. Sorry, Robert.
Can I go? Can I go?
Yeah.
One thing that you brought up, Brendan, I just want you to kind of elaborate on it because you brought it up in the video. Watched it this morning. Was Weidman's ability to clasp hands. Just the significance
Thanks for picking up on that. No one has yet.
Yeah, the significance of that.
And I was subtle like a fucking sledgehammer.
Yeah. The significance of that, especially when it comes to Weidman's takedowns and how successful he can be. Just maybe elaborate on that.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Again, and I kind of was referencing that with the standing guillotine finish, the head and arm triangle. He has tremendous grip, right? Whether it's a gable grip, whatever he's doing palm to palm, once he gets them, sometimes he's even kind of ass gripping around the back.
Yeah.
He's just clearly this really strong, lifelong wrestler, gritty, tough dude. And he's beyond that, there's a technical element. So every time that Gastelum has fast hips, if you notice, I don't know. But the first time that Weidman got him down, when he tried to kind of throw his hips up, and Weidman just kind of pushed through and pressure. Yeah, he almost like postured the pressure pass to get his back. So there was that. What I really wanted people to take from the breakdown. Sometimes I try to like let you learn rather than me just give you all the information. Is the arms clasped, right? He uses them for leverage and for takedowns and to trap arms and create angles in order to get the takedowns. But what's interesting that he does better than a lot of people is once he does get them down, he doesn't let go of that grip. And a lot of times once you get to blue, purplish belt in jiu-jitsu and you learn how to do that to lower belts, you can do whatever you want. if you know how to clasp your hands correctly, keep pressure in the right place and move your hips accordingly. And that's kind of the key to his transitions, is he's clasping. It doesn't have to be your typical over-under or even around the waist or, seatbelt grip from the back. He's not necessarily doing the atypical things. It's more like keeping a grip high thigh to move his hips up into half guard. He didn't do that per se, but I'm saying it's transitions like that. So he's very committed to that, and then leading with his head. He's just got those gritty kind of. It's technical passing, but it's strength based, and he kind of locks down hips well by keeping his hands clasped throughout the exchanges. And like I said, he'll loosen up when he needs to in order to create a mistake and then go right back to a clamp. Even if it's not necessarily hand-to-hand, it's something similar,
Would you agree?
So that was kind of that was the key to not only his takedowns, but some of his transitions as well.
Would you agree that that kind of game that he has is a really good jiu-jitsu game with heavy wrestling influences? Yes.
If you come from a wrestling background, and there was a fight that Almeida, when we get to it, just say jiu-jitsu and I'll remember my point. When you come from that kind of a wrestling background, I mean, he was an NCAA. I know wrestling's not big where you guys are from. It wasn't in my high school, but in the States, it's definitely a big thing. Mm-hmm. And guys that are at that level, NCAA, All-American, blah, blah, I know that those words are almost foreign to you guys, but they're generally used to the grind, if you will. He isn't just that. He's a very technical dude. His wrestling's technical. I keep trying to emphasize that with people. His shots aren't the cleanest looking. It's not like the GSP double leg that's so, cinematic looking. But at the same time, there's a lot of technique, and it's more leverage-based technique, And to your point about a wrestler, yes, because they understand top control balance. That's why you see a guy like Yoel Romero willing to go into Jacare's guard, right? Because he's not going to get swept, and you rarely are seeing guys in those kind of fights that are either, let's call them 1 through 5s, like that kind of ranking. Mm-hmm. You're not seeing guys getting submitted from the bottom much anymore, because people are smartening up to, good top games, and guys with elite wrestling, they have fantastic top balance, And if the guy in the bottom maybe only has a jiu-jitsu background, and you I don't know how much jiu-jitsu you guys have done, but you see it in jiu-jitsu gyms, a lot of guy will come in with some kind of wrestling pedigree, and it's like, you may as well throw a blue belt on the guy after he learns 3 submissions, or girl, So, yeah, absolutely. Very MMA friendly as well, because he didn't rely on a gi for half his life.
I was in jiu-jitsu. I was just I want to say Russian. He's from that neck of the woods. Anyway, he came in from fundamentals class, and he done like 3 classes, but like he was a Zambo background guy and wrestling, and holy God, I'd say dripping wet, he was probably 74 kg, which is what, 150, 60 pounds thereabouts.
What's the conversion rate?
Yeah, about 160 pounds, and he was
how big? 74 kg?
Okay. Yeah, about 74, soaking wet. And he was throwing me around like I was a rag doll. It was quite fun.
Yeah, something happened to me.
Not fun.
Everyone says that about Khabib as well. Like, it's not even... Like, Cormier said that.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Jesus.
He fights at 155 and he just ragdolls guys. Those Russian grappling... Because it's Sambo, but it's... Sambo is actually like an acronym for a Russian word that means like self-defense. Yeah. Sambo is varied. There's more variance in it. People tend to think of it as leg locks and throws, but there's a lot more to it.
Fighting bears.
Anyway. Fighting bears, yeah.
A big fight that stood out for you as well, Brendan, was Jimmy Rivera taking on Thomas Almeida.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really interesting fight. I rewatched it today, and I think what you saw is kind of like Lineker with faster feet, crazy chin. He reminded me of Lineker in ways. Better takedowns, better wrestling, but similar in his approach of a kind of plotting guy with he's willing to exchange in the pocket kind of thing. Yeah. What disappointed me a tad with Almeida is that, and I kind of said this before he fought Cody, is that Cody was way better with angles, and I thought with his such high guard kind of plotting movement compared to someone that's constantly cutting angles, like, you know, Cody, who's one punch away from putting you to bed, that to me favored Cody all day, even though I was in the minority when I thought that. With that said, you had a guy that was kind of plotting powerful, you know, because when he was landing kind of grazing punches rather, you were seeing Almeida drop in great recovery, although you don't want to keep doing that because he's already had that happen with Pickett. And, you know what I mean? He's been hit a few times and kind of recovered and gotten back. But you had kind of the, what is it, the immovable object and the irresistible force. It was that kind of thing. But when I speak to disappointment with Almeida, it's like when he's gotten better with creating angles and he's moving his head more, but he's creating them and then striking in the center line, which is really strange to me. If you rewatch it, just anyone who's watching this or listening to this, rewatch it and watch him create an angle, and he'll come in from a 45 to then meet center line and attack straight. And I understand the straight attack concept on a guy that tends to wing strikes, right? Rivera's not like a jabber, or he's not a 1-2 guy. It's all kind of round punching. You know what I mean? And club fisting, and he's that guy. I think he's very Lineker-esque, right? Calling out Dom, that would be a more extreme example, right? But I don't know that he's ready for Dom. But either way, you got to admire his confidence there. Now with Almeida, it's like takedowns are what people, like the consensus seemed to be was the difference, right? He got taken down 3 times. I don't think any of them were all that significant. No. He did a really nice switch over to get back to his feet in the 3rd round. I mean, there wasn't much time left. But I don't like when points are decided. I mean, I guess it's rounds points, but rounds or whatever. Fights are decided by, takedowns that last 5 seconds. I don't know are you scoring? I mean, I don't know. It's not my call, but when you're watching the fight, it's tough to say. It didn't seem that definitive to me, So to go to the jiu-jitsu point that I wanted to talk about before real quick is that with Almeida, he likes to do flying knees a lot. Again, a little too linear for my liking, because all he's got to do is take his head off center line during those exchanges. When you see, every time Cody catches somebody, he usually will slip out and away with his right, when he throws that punch. Yeah. So therefore, whatever attack was coming in a linear fashion, his hand's up here, and he's coming off the center line and then over. So then you don't have much to attack, but you better be, covered up. But your head is off center line. It's not so much where your feet are from the center line. And he was doing that, but then attacking way too straight. Because you do want to jab someone that's going to be throwing a lot of hooks, or either way, you want a straight punch because it's a much faster punch. It's boxing 101. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the best thing to beat that kind of punching. So jiu-jitsu wise, when he goes for flying knees and he goes for all these things, he doesn't have, or at least didn't look like he has, attacks from his back. And we can go back to the Pettis discussion or whoever. When you're going to be Captain High Fly, right? And you've got long limbs and dexterity, why wouldn't you be working on submissions off your back constantly, at least threatening them,
Carlos Condit was great at that.
Point, there's not enough people that know how to really threaten from their backs anymore,
That's
it's a mini takeaway, but in the grand scheme of MMA, it's a major takeaway, I think.
No, I just said that. I don't know if you picked it up. Carlos Condit was great at doing that.
Phenomenal. Yeah, and it wasn't so much that he would lock up triangles every fight. It was that he threatened enough to get into a position where he could then get back to his feet and be Carlos Condit, And sometimes it's threatening. I'm not saying you got to learn to finish them all. You've got to threaten enough that the person might even be reluctant to take you down, kind of Conor Nate style. Yeah. Even when the person's down, you just get up. I'm not playing that game with you. Because Nate's he's talk about a guy that can submit off his back, right? Even though he doesn't have the takedowns, kind of makes sense in his case. I mean, it didn't work out against Conor because he couldn't take him down. But, if you were to attack that guy from the top, I think even Kavanaugh would get tapped by Nate. He's very, very high level off his back, So it's all relative.
Notable standouts, Rob, in the car for you?
I thought the Darren Elkins Dennis Bermudez fight was really, really good. Bermudez, he's been a bit hot and cold. Darren Elkins, after that huge comeback in his last fight, now beating Dennis Bermudez, he's on a run. Who would have thought it a couple of maybe a couple of months ago, a couple of years ago. Darren Elkin's gone on this run against a good guy against Bermudez. Tough fight to call. I don't necessarily disagree with the decision. I don't agree with it. It's just one of them where it could have went either way. It's hard when you're not scoring the fight. It's hard to say who won if you're not actually sitting down and scoring it. And then the Patrick Cummins fight, Jean Vellante fight, it was.
I think a lot of people were going with Jean Vellante in that one.
Yeah, again, it's not one that I would really dispute. I wouldn't say it was a robbery.
You weren't spitting out your popcorn when it was called.
No. Absolutely not.
I don't. Yeah, they were both really close. I understand if you're in the L column after that, protesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I don't think it wasn't robbery in either case. The Cummins fight was interesting.
People use that word too quickly.
If I were to tell you, if you were to ask me 6 months ago and I was blind about the guy, who would you give him for coaches? And you told me you were giving him Antonio Tarver as his boxing coach and Neil Melanson as his grappling coach. I'd be like, holy shit. Because Neil Melanson's like the best big guy grappling coach out there for MMA, I think. That guy's a wizard, and he's a big dude himself, kind of a catch wrestling type, more than a jiu-jitsu type. Yeah. And Cummins has that really high-level wrestling background. So with that and someone like Tarver, who's very elite boxer. So I don't know that we saw all those tools, but you've got the makings of somebody. And Vellante's it's interesting. Yeah. Sometimes his striking will look really crisp, and then 2 seconds later it'll look a little sloppy. I don't totally understand his inconsistency.
Slows down a lot, doesn't he? He slows down in the later rounds. Not even the later rounds. The second half of the second round, he was slowing down a lot.
Arms dropping, stomach breathing. Yeah. Back to the cage when there's nothing coming at him.
Exactly.
It's odd. I don't know the guy. I can't really speak to it on a personal level, but it's pretty easy to see.
Big knockout win on the night as well for the other cowboy, Alex Oliveira. What I found funny about, well, not funny, but Brian Stan throughout the whole commentary kept going about, Oliveira's laughing and smiling and joking, and Ryan LaFleur's all business, and Oliveira needs to focus in and stop smiling like he was smiling for the cameras all next minute. Boom, the uppercut from hell, and Brian Stan just went, keep smiling, Alex. But it was a good finish for Oliveira.
Everything I just said for 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. So it looked like he sort of was weighing LaFleur up. LaFleur came charging in from a distance, looking for the takedown. He just landed a beautiful uppercut. But that was UFC on Fox 25. Good card, but let's move on to the big one, the heated match. We're going to break it down, the UFC 214. We're going to break it down from the first fight on the main card, and that is Jimmy Manuwa. This is a big fight for Jimmy Manuwa as well, taking on Volkan Oezdemir. What do we think of this one? How do we see it? As in, I always call Jimmy Manuwa the English Anthony Johnson. What do we think of this?
Although he got Anthony Johnson.
He got Anthony Johnson's,
yeah.
But his KO ratio is 88%.
Yeah, it's something crazy.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So, I don't know enough about the other guy to say. I mean, he's got a high KO percentage too, and I think a couple submissions.
Yeah.
I don't remember the numbers exactly, but a lot of people are saying that guy's a sleeper. I just haven't seen enough film really to make that claim. But man was on a hell of a run, man.
Yeah.
That guy's got dynamite in his hands.
Big
so
time.
If he lands clean, see ya.
Yeah. I was very impressed.
Nice setup.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Oezdemir's last one because Misha Cirkunov, I thought, and I think a lot of people thought that he was going to be one of the next contenders in the division. And I think Oezdemir, a lot of people, maybe were looking at Oezdemir as a bit of an underdog, a bit of a live dog, as they say. But I think people were surprised the way he put Cirkunov out.
Yeah. So
I was actually very impressed. Jimmy Manuwa, again, he's definitely limited in certain things. His grappling, maybe he's limited there, and his wrestling, every kind of thing to do with his grappling. The clinch, he's whatever. But that's striking. If he lands, as you said, that's striking. If he lands clean.
Well, if you look at Jimmy Manuwa, his only defeats are to Gustafsson and Rumble Johnson. Yeah. He now trains out of All Stars in Sweden as well, as long as back home in the UK as well. So he trains regularly with Gustafsson. So that's going to help on another end. He's been on an absolute tear since the defeat to Anthony Johnson with the KO over St. Preux, who, yes, it wasn't the vintage Jon Jones that St. Preux went the distance with, but he went the distance with. And then Corey Anderson then that finish of Corey Anderson, he folded him like an absolute deck chair.
Yeah.
And that's what Jimmy Manuwa does. He's violent. He's violent in, like, when he smells blood, he goes for it. But his striking is phenomenal. He is like another version of Anthony Rumble Johnson. He's a killer like Mike Tyson. He has that wild power. But, you know, Oezdemir's got to look at this, is if he wants to stand and bang, like, again, Rob, you were singing from the rafters about Cerrone in this fight, and he got him done in 28 seconds.
I was quite surprised.
And the thing about this is a huge opportunity for both these guys. The light heavyweight division is wide open in so many ways, as in you're a top prospect with a big win. And I think the winner of this potentially could be in line for the winner of DC and Jon Jones. I don't think it's any fluke that they're sharing the card with the main event, but I just think for me here, Jimmy Manuwa, he just looks at it like losses have made him, and he looks like against Rumble he got caught, he got hurt, but one of them was going out in that fight, let's be honest. But I just think Manuwa's movement, his angles, the way he cuts angles to land them ferocious shots, like he's not just winging shots from a distance. He works his way in for the shots, picks the shots, sets them up, and that's how he gets the finish. It's as much as a lot of them finish in one shot finishes, they're set up by multiple shots leading up to that. So that's where I'll be looking at. And my bet would be a first round knockout for Jimmy Manuwa in this one. So we will be picking.
You know what's
Jimmy
insane, and I always forget about this, and I don't even know if people are aware that Jimmy Manuwa didn't start training mixed martial arts till he was 27. 27.
It's insane.
And not even mixed martial arts, martial arts in general. He just lifted weights.
No boxing, no anything.
No. And like when he came into
MMA, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Like when he came into MMA, I assumed, like I seen a couple of his fights, and I assumed, oh, this guy must have a striking background. Let me check. Nothing. That's crazy.
Super athlete, you know.
Yeah.
One of those kinesthetically aware kind of guys.
Yeah.
Because the finish you were talking about, Corey Anderson, right? Where he sleep and kill them. If you notice the way he set that up, Corey kept going weak side on him against the fence, and he kind of dipped shoulder to fake a 2 and springs up into that long 3, and he turned his glove over, which was awesome. Because as you guys know, where's the camera? Here in your hand? Where am I?
There we go.
All right. No padding. All right? I'm so backwards right now. There. So he caught him with like this part of the glove where there isn't padding on those 4-ounce gloves. And he does that a lot. And a lot of people have kind of gotten smart to that technique. But he rolled the hook over from the distance. And that caught him kind of on the temple. It wasn't a chin shot. And that guy was, see ya. So very, very good power. And he is cerebral as a striker, for sure. As far as where he is with his grappling. Who knows if he's even trying to improve there. I don't know. You know, if he was fighting Cormier, I bet he would be. Yeah. But like, I forget which one of you said it, but he's not on that card on accident because Jones has been such a fucking wild card. You know?
Yeah, we might be talking about Cormier versus Jimmy Manuwa by the end of the week.
Yeah, no, it could be about as well. It's what Brendan alludes to as well. If Jon Jones was to have been in a motor vehicle accident or other things, you know, the replacement.
I'm going to go with Jimmy Manuwa too. I'm going to go with your first round finish. I think Oezdemir is going to be happy to stand with him. I think Jimmy Manuwa is going to be happy to stand with Oezdemir. Oezdemir certainly has the power and the technique to finish it, but I'm going to go with Manuwa because he's on that good run. And I just think as he's both said, he sets up his strikes really, really well. I'm going to go with Manuwa. First round finish, but you know, who knows?
You never know. But I think it's a fair pick. As far as when, who knows, right? But
who knows?
He's got that kind of shut you down power, so should be interesting.
Are we going to force Brendan Dorman into a selection, or are you going to stay on the fence?
Fence.
Fence.
I got one I'll pick.
Moving up the card to one.
I'll give you one guess. Go ahead, continue.
We're moving up the card to. This was due to happen at 200. Was it now? What card? It was. It was a big card.
I think it was 213 or 212.
But everybody was excited about this one, and I'm still excited about this one. We've got Robbie Lawler taking on Donald Cerrone. This is a throwback in a way to fighters of old in some ways, but. This one is tasty, and I'm excited to hear your opinion. I'm breaking this one down. And ways to victory and paths to victory. And what do we think of this one, Brendan?
I think we haven't seen Lawler in a long time.
Tyron Woodley.
Yeah, I think that's something we got to take into account. If indeed ring rust has any reality, right? What's going to be fascinating to me is you have neither of them are necessarily tricky strikers. Neither of them necessarily want to be on the ground, and I don't think Cowboys wrestling is good enough to get Lawler down, to be honest. And I don't think Lawler will be looking for takedowns either. I think that guy just loves exchanging punches with people. Like, that seems to be where he is, that's his Shangri-La, if you will.
Yeah.
You have more power from Lawler and a much better, well, it's tough to say Cowboy doesn't have a good chin, because the only guy that really got him by hitting him on the chin was Masvidal. Otherwise, it's always been body work. That's been his thing, from all the too much beer or whatever. I'm kidding. But it'll be interesting to see if he can, because he comes from obviously one of the best camps ever. They're going to have a game plan. They're going to see something, whether or not he executes it, and then who knows what Robbie's been doing, because I know he's been like kind of gym shopping a little bit. And the other thing, and one of the first times I spoke with you guys, Noel, you had spoken about deterioration of chin, right?
Yeah.
So, it doesn't matter who you are if you're getting chin to chin, right? If that happens, but if it's a kind of boxing friendly range, it's going to favor Lawler. So while I think it'd be impossible to not be a fan pleaser, I just can't picture how that fight's boring. I don't know how that'll happen, but because I don't think you'll see a Wonder Boy Tyron Woodley tentative thing going on at all. Actually, I think the opposite, if anything. But if it's in kind of boxing friendly range, like jab range, I think you've got to kind of favor Lawler because of his chin and his power, right?
Yeah.
With Cowboy, you have more fine striking, a much better kind of tie sense, more slapping leg kicks, and the way that his no-sell 9 is like the best in the business, I think. One of them, he'll just throw that thing up right over the shoulder, but he sets it up off that kind of switch jab. We talked about like how Joanna does that. He does that phenomenally too, and anyone that gets hit with that's going to sleep. But punch-wise, I don't think he has the power in his hands to put Lawler to sleep, unless the chin's gone. But I think Lawler definitely has the hands to put Cowboy to sleep. So I think it'll be a matter of game planning more than anything, honestly, because they both have their strengths over the other person.
Yeah.
They're very different strikers, as much as neither of them are fancy per se.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see what the game is like. Who'll be able to take control of the center? Who'll be able to pull somebody into their game? Because Cowboy sometimes, you've seen it with the Nate Diaz fight. Now, that was a long time ago, but when Nate Diaz started throwing down, Cowboy kind of neglected everything, neglected the leg kicks, neglected the high kicks, and just boxed with him. And that was the worst thing he could have done. I'd see a similar thing happen here, as you said. If it's in boxing range, I think Lawler will probably have the upper hand. Again, we don't know what his chin is like. He's not just that knockout to Tyron Woodley, but he's been in wars. He's been in wars with Carlos Conde, the war with Johnny Hendricks twice. So he's been in there.
Rory.
Exactly, Rory, which is probably the biggest of all. So we don't know what his chin is going to be like, especially coming off the knockout and then all the previous ones. But if they do stand in front of each other, which I think they probably will, and I think Cowboy will just say, let's go, and I'd have to give the advantage to Lawler, but it's difficult to say. If Cowboy can come up with a game plan and stay on the outside and use his leg kicks and stuff, you could see a route to victory there as well. But it's difficult. It's difficult with Cowboy sometimes. Yeah, it's difficult with Cowboy sometimes picking him, because a lot of time he just doesn't do that. He just goes in.
He gets into. He's one of those guys that you made a really good reference with the Diaz fight, where he gets into a kind of street fight mentality. Where remember I was talking about Verdum doing that, like getting angry in a fight. There's a few people that pull it off, and you don't ever see it kind of work against them. I guess both Diaz's, although I think that's a psychological ploy in a way. Garbrandt is really good at pointing the center of the ring, saying "fucking bring it," like it's a schoolyard fight, and then out maneuvering Dominic Cruz next. I mean, that he's an exception. That's not the rule. So I fear that Cowboy might fall into that trap. But if he stays smart and keeps range, because he's got really long legs, and I do believe a much better kicking game, although Lawler throws kicks, then he's in there, But that chin thing, I don't know. We're gonna find out.
For me here, I always find I'm a big Cowboy fan. I never pick against Cowboy. I picked against him once, and he proved me wrong.
Who was that? What fight was that?
I
can't remember what that was. I
remember.
remember you picking against him.
It broke me heart picking against him. But if you look at any of Cowboy's defeats, like Cowboy, I always think Cowboy is at his best when he's leading the dance.
Yeah.
When he's doing, when it's his tempo and the drum is being hit to his beat, that's when Donald Cowboy Cerrone is at his best. He can pick his shots, he can push forward, and he threatens the takedown. That's what I think is something that always helps Cowboy. Is he can mix it up, and as much as we're saying he doesn't have the takedown to take down Robbie Lawler, he threatens it, and that allows him to mix up his kicks. The switch kick to the chin is lightning quick. But when to reverse that, Cowboy loses and he's not at his best when he's taking the backward step. You look at the Masvidal fight, you look at the RDA fight, the Nate Diaz fight. When the fight is brought to Cowboy, that's when Cowboy wilts in the fight. Also a lot when people go hard to the body on Cowboy, that's where it is.
It's kind of similar, isn't it, to what the point was about him being dragged into someone else's game.
Yeah.
Like when he's very, very well rounded, and that is mostly a good thing. But a lot of the times he'll get pulled into one facet of MMA, like standing in front of somebody boxing, and that's when you see his weaknesses.
What I think with it's almost like it's a silly analogy because it's obviously sport. It's like a bully. When a bully is bullying someone, they're at their strongest. But when someone strikes back to the bully, the bully wilts and steps away. And that's what...
I don't think it's silly at all.
That
happens all the time.
That's where I see this fight where it's...
And
Robbie Lawler's the bully.
Yeah, big time.
And Cowboy is in there. So I can see, again, the chin thing is something that we could easily be talking about on Monday next week.
Could
We'd
be 20
going,
seconds. 20 seconds you could get hit.
Chin.
Yeah.
Everybody's got an expiry date. But for me, I just think Robbie Lawler's going to put the pressure. He's going to look at the Masvidal and the RDA fight as a blueprint and go after Cowboy in that way. If you let Cowboy dance, he will dance and he'll make your night short by allowing him to do that. So if you want to have a dance partner, you have to put pressure on Cowboy to win the fight. And I'm going to say Robbie Lawler's going to do that. And he's going to put the pressure, going to hit hard to the body, mix up a shot. Like Robbie Lawler hits like an absolute train at that weight class.
Oh my God.
The damage like he done to Rory McDonald wanted to fight, but Rory McDonald's body said, no more. I can't do this any longer.
That was heartbreaking,
So for me, Robbie Lawler, I'm going to go round 2, and he's going to get the job done. And this is only the second time in my Cowboy Cerrone following I've picked.
Let's all pick Cerrone. That knockout is probably the scariest knockout. Like you see the ones where somebody gets flat out and they're out cold, and that's scary. But there's something about seeing Rory McDonald
face explode.
Yeah, and the way he just kind of falls to his knees like a decrepit old man. It was disgusting to see. It was horrible.
And he's from the same people as me, so even though I don't know him well, I know him enough that I was like, oh God, that was hard to watch. And he was like a broken man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it was really hard to watch. And we're talking about one of the baddest fucking dudes on planet Earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And breaking, just his body breaking. His heart was there. He wanted to, like you said, he wanted to fight, and his fucking nose was smashed into his face. That was really hard to watch. Same. One of the hardest ones ever for me.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm just gonna go with Robbie Lawler as well. And I'm gonna go with a finish in the third
round.
Yeah, something late. I think, as you said, and as Brent said, he's gonna hit to the body. And that's what's going to do it. Usually what does it against Cowboys to the body. I'm going to go and pick that one.
Again, thanks to paddypower.com for the Manuwa round 1 KO that me and Rob are shouting at. We're going to go decimal, people, so the world understands what we're saying. So we're not just going 3-2 or whatever. So it's 2.87. Is basically if you put a pound on or $1 on, you'll get 287 back on it. So you'll get 387 back. So first round, Jimmy Manuwa is 2.87. Robbie Lawler to win the fight, just the overall win, is 1.57. And Donald Cowboy Cerrone is 2.2. So the two of us are going with Robbie. Moving along to the next one. This is...
Guys, that's just so much different than what I'm used to. Go ahead.
Yeah, they go with the under...
Yeah, what do you do under and over, don't you? Like minus 1.7.
It's all based on $100 bet.
Yeah.
So if you bet somebody they're plus 270, that's a huge dog usually. And if they're, minus, 120 to 140, 110 even sometimes is like even kind of. But if you see minus 1,000, like a fight coming up, that's a huge favorite. So for every $100 you bet, if someone's minus 1,000, you're actually putting up 1,000 to win 100, which is insane.
It's insane, yeah.
But you don't see that much. And
that's what happens if you back Floyd Mayweather.
The odds make it better,
Yeah, we actually use fractional ones. So Noel went off because he thought that you would use the decimal ones, which you don't. We use fractional ones, so now nobody understands what Noel is talking about, basically.
I was totally lost. Yeah, that's great. I had no fucking idea.
I explained it beautifully. Next up on the card, we have the real women's champion. We have Chris Cyborg taking on Tonya Evinger. Sorry, how dare you. This is clearly the title fight. Let's be honest, Randomine went running. What? I got to fight Cyborg? Nah, fuck that shit. See you later. So here we go.
You?
No. Nope.
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't fight her as a tag team, me and Rob.
I don't know that I want to help you guys. Yeah, she's terrifying.
What do we think of this one, and how bad of a night do we think this is going to be for Toya? Or do we see something that nobody's expecting happening?
I'll go out on a limb here and say Cyborg within 5 seconds. No, first round.
Yeah, first round.
That girl's not making it out of the first round. I don't think people understand how good Cyborg is. Mm-hmm. Even though we got to see her once, and we saw absolute decimation like that against a striker too. It was like the punches were like nothing. Mm-hmm. It was like me fighting a 7-year-old. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And you'd fuck a 7-year-old right up.
Almost. I just. Yeah, I went a little crazy with that number, but 17. She's just so advanced. It's not just speed, power. Yeah. She's technical as shit. Yeah. High hands, great footwork. She's long. I always say she reminds me of a young Badr Hari when he was in his prime, kind of in K1 before he bulked up a ton. She's got similar technique in her striking. She's a fucking killer. Yeah. I can't imagine she does anything but knock that girl out quick.
I think I've been saying it for a while. I think that to beat the person who's going to beat Cyborg, if anyone beats her while she's still fighting, will be somebody who is a next generation female fighter. Whereas Tonya Evinger has been fighting since 2007. She's 35 years of age. She's been fighting probably, I'm not sure if it's earlier than Cyborg, but she's from the same generation. Like she's
one thing, sorry, I have to interrupt here for a second. I was away on holidays. Why did the Anderson fight fall away? What happened there?
Anderson's injured.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like I don't think that Tonya Evinger is going to bring anything to the table that Cyborg's previous opponents has brought, especially considering Tonya's going to be a lot smaller as usual with Cyborg. She hasn't really fought anyone of her size. Gina Carano was a 145er, but that was a mismatch at the time. But yeah, I just don't see Tonya Evinger bringing anything. She's a very good wrestler, but she's not going to take down Cyborg. She's good on top, but she's not going to get on top. So yeah,
not that good of a wrestler.
Yeah, like she's for the division, she's a decent wrestler.
Of course.
One thing we always talk about.
Not good enough.
One thing we said a lot about ring rust, that surely has come into play here with Cyborg as well. She doesn't fight all that regular because nobody's fighting her.
Yeah.
So
fights in the gym.
Yeah. This is going to be the thing. Is Evinger is she just the lamb to slaughter here? Is this
I'm sure she doesn't think
Cyborg,
that way,
feed her. Like she's the goat in Jurassic Park. She's the goat just brought in, put in with the T-Rex, and she's just going to get eaten up in the octagon.
Silence of the Lambs with the lotion.
Yeah.
Am I getting real cryptic today or what? Just kidding. I'm just kidding. She's of course she's a fucking lamb to slaughter. Is anyone on planet Earth saying she has a chance? I haven't heard one person say that.
No, I guarantee you there's one person. So if the amazing and shocking thing happens, they'll go, "Told you."
Yeah. I hate those people.
Yeah, there you go.
They'll take a screenshot of it and they won't show it. If they don't win, they won't show it. But if they win,
I said it at 5:30 a.m. in the morning. Deleted the tweet straight away.
I love the "I told you so" guys. They're the best.
Yeah, Brendan Shaw will spring to mind with that one. Brendan Schaub, he's going to be all over if McGregor wins. My God,
absolutely.
wow. Moving on to the co-main, I think this is an intriguing fight because this is a clash of styles in a way. It's always, we always seem to say it's a clash of styles when Damian Maia fights, as in, we know his game plan. Everybody knows the game plan.
Tyron Woodley knows
It's
that game
like,
plan.
everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Can he get the game plan? Can he implement the game plan? The champion Tyron Woodley taking on Damian Maia. What do we think?
What interesting. Maia's been on such an incredible run, and minus the Masvidal fight, he's done kind of whatever he wanted. I mean, Gunny gave him a run. You know, he didn't finish him. Everyone else, he was the hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
Best MMA. I'll maintain this. I know I've said it once to you guys, but I think he has the best MMA jiu-jitsu ever. Ever.
Really?
Number one.
That's awesome.
You see him rolling like Marcelo, and he's tit for tat in just jiu-jitsu. So you have the MMA element, and him going from 185 to 170 was really smart. And then him working on his striking enough to understand range better, and then wrestling, because he kind of like we were alluding to earlier with Weidman, right? And I know it's different; their frames are entirely different, and even their technique is different. But it's a leverage-based wrestling system that he gets his takedowns from. It's not power by any stretch, you know. But he's a master. And if I'll tell you what, the jiu-jitsu world's going to go insane. Even though Woodley trains under Laborio, I think still he's a brown belt. He doesn't have shitty jiu-jitsu. Woodley has actually really good jiu-jitsu, and he's incredible in the clinch, and his power is terrifying. His wrestling is amazing. It's hard to see how Maia does it, but I'm not going to be floored if he does. He's that good. If he gets top position, actually, if it just goes to the ground for too long, Woodley's taking a chance there. That's not a guy you want to. I mean, I mentioned Nate and Connor. There's another level with Maia. He'll hip switch on you, and all of a sudden he's in mount, raining elbows just enough to submit you. It's like he doesn't want to hurt you too much. Fantastic jiu-jitsu, but if Woodley catches anybody once, see ya.
That's the deal.
That guy's terrifying.
I remember when we were talking about it before, when it was actually the Robbie Lawler fight, and everybody picked Robbie Lawler against Woodley, but I turned around and said, do not be surprised if early Woodley, with the explosion and speed that his athleticism and just the big shots he can land at such speed, he covers distance so fast to land them shots. Don't be surprised if he turns the lights out. But then I was like, I know, but Robbie Lawler will win. But so I got the little, but I did say sort of. But this is one where Woodley's not going to be going for the takedown. I don't think he has any stretch of the imagination of going for the takedown. And Maia here, the blueprint is we know what's happening. And to talk about how good Damian Maia's jiu-jitsu is, you look at the fight with Gunny Nelson, what he done to Gunny. He made Gunny look like a blue belt. Yeah. As much as Gunny's defense was phenomenal.
He was on the defensive for the whole thing.
It was the whole thing.
The whole time. And he never attacked.
It's next level. So in a way, this is almost like an old-fashioned... We've moved away from saying grappler versus striker. But in a way, this is what it is. Although Woodley has unbelievable wrestling, is he going to want to gamble and take it to the ground, land a few shots, maybe stand back up? That's the... I don't think...
the funny thing is, though, with Woodley, when's the last time you've seen him shoot for a takedown or go for a takedown? He doesn't use his wrestling anymore. If you look at his last couple of fights, his game plan, for the most part, is back up against the cage, circle to the cage, circle to the cage, and explode. Yeah. Circle cage,
you can
circle
look
cage,
to
explode.
his UFC debut.
Yeah.
That's been his plan.
Yeah.
It took a Faraz Sahabi to notice that. Yeah.
And
that's why Rory picked him apart.
Yeah. And he
just knew what he was going to do. He does that, he backs up, and then he sprints out with that right hand. And Rory's got that. He's one of the best elbow blockers there is. Yeah. Jabbing his face off, But he doesn't shoot. He shot on Wonderboy, twice in 10 rounds?
He doesn't seem to commit to it, though. Even when he does, he doesn't commit to it that much. It doesn't look like he's looking for it as much. He's using it as a...
Like, kind of threatening it to maybe, get that level change so he can, extrapolate something from that. Yeah. Maybe, a strike from the bottom, an uppercut, a knee, even though he doesn't really throw those much. More of an overhand right guy. His striking's good, though. He's got really powerful kicks, but he has a ton of tell on them. If he's smart, and his coach is definitely smart, I don't know how much he's with Duke, because I know he's an ATT guy. He confuses me with where he trains. I don't totally get it.
I think it's Duke,
but
I'm pretty sure.
It's because he's always with like Yves Edwards. Doesn't he do a podcast with him? I think
so. Yeah.
Either way, he's landed some leg kicks that are like, holy Jesus. He like knocks people down. He's got the power. He's not slick with it though. And his hands, like with Lawler, that was super slick, right? Against Koscheck, the way he landed that punch. Against Jay Huron, when he does those blitz shifts out of nowhere, where he kind of, I said that, you know, how Conor does this, and Gunny to some extent too, where they're fast twitch muscle guys, and they kind of lull you, make you forget that, and then all of a sudden you're asleep. You know what I mean? So it's a terrifying prospect of a fight for Maia, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled it off. And the jiu-jitsu world will go fucking batshit.
Oh, it's insane.
The reason...
But I think the big thing about... one more thing. I think that's important is that maybe not takedowns for Woodley, but I think the reason that so many people are taking him is, can Maia bring him down? Yeah. Of course, right? Yeah. I don't... who knows? We'll see. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know, because I think who of all the people that he's run through and submitted and everything, you figure who would have had the best wrestling of those guys? Would it have been like Masvidal? Because he definitely got him down. Yeah. But Masvidal isn't freak, you know, Mount Olympus Tyron Woodley either. So I don't know. I just don't know.
One thing that I love about what Damian Maia does, when they're up against the cage, he's like he's going for a trip and he gets you to defend. And before you know it, he's just snuck his way quarter around your back. And then you're sort of going,
somebody was doing the last
you're like,
card.
oh, hold on, he's got my back. And then they start thinking about his back, and then he'll get a trip. But while he's tripping you, he's slowly edging. Yeah. And he sits at your, like, Masvidal literally wore him like a backpack in the first round. Yeah. He got the body triangle and stayed on his back. And that's, I think, a way that Maia has a chance of getting this to the ground, is by slowly slithering as a threatening.
He's like some chap robbing your gaff, robbing your house, and he walks into, he starts talking to you, and he's slowly walking through your house, just taking stuff from his pocket, so and walks out the door.
You're showing your north side thing here. I put it. That's robbing your gaff.
That's a good point though with the trips, and that's the reason I'm picking Maia. I'm gonna say it. I don't know why. I know why. I'll tell you why exactly. But I think the reason why I brought up Woodley backing up against the cage is because Maia, he's not a wrestler. He doesn't shoot for takedowns. He gets trips up against the cage. I think that with Woodley, the way he backs up against the cage all the time, and maybe we'll see something different. Maybe we'll see him coming forward or whatever. But if he does that game where he's backing up against the cage constantly and he doesn't catch Maia, I think Maia will be able to get him down. I think he's going to be able to get a clinch. And if he doesn't take him down with a trip, I think he'll just pull Woodley on top of him, and he might be able to sweep him, or he might be able to get some kind of position where he'll be on top. And Brendan brought up the point of Woodley being a good grappler and even good jiu-jitsu, and that's true. But so has everybody else that Damian Maia has fought, and he's been able to take control of him. So that's the crazy thing. I'm going with Damian Maia. I'm going Damian Maia by rear naked choke. Wow. Early.
You brought up something that I was going to bring up, in that I'll tell you what, if I'm Maia's coach, which I certainly would never be his jiu-jitsu coach in a million years more of training, but I know enough to know enough. If he gets a clinch, as you alluded to, I don't think Woodley's going to put his back against the fence against Maia, because I don't think there's any fear of his striking. But who knows? What I do think is very possible, and would be an incredibly smart thing to do if you're Maia, and he's done it before, to who? You guys remember? Pull guard.
Yeah.
Remember, he kind of did. It was kind of like
Neil Magny.
It looked almost like he's doing a lateral drop that failed, but he essentially pulled guard. Yeah. And then did a mounted triangle and rolled over into an actual triangle against Chael, and it was like,
the Chael one, yeah.
You know, sequitur, brilliant. He does that. If he pulls guard, his guard's that good. Yeah. You know, that'd be really smart for him. Why not? Why not pull guard? Yeah. Well, why is that? I don't understand. When your jiu-jitsu is literally world class, that word gets overused, but he's literally that. You know, it's the Eddie Bravo always calls it the third option. You know, I think Eddie Bravo is such an underrated mind. He's got really good insight. You know, especially on jiu-jitsu, but just on MMA in general. You know, if he does that, I don't think your call is crazy at all. You know.
Poor Eddie, he clouds all that good MMA and jiu-jitsu judgment with the flat earther stuff.
Flat as earth.
English, no? I'm with him up until a couple of those. He goes to that. Like, Jesus Christ, man. You've
went too far.
Yeah, I don't get that one at all. We probably shouldn't go on that.
Well, let's not go on flat air. People start going, not these two.
That's all I need is Eric Dubé on my shit. Him and his bronies. Christ. I'm
picking Woodley in this one, and I'm gonna get him done through fatigue for Maia trying to get it to the ground, and I noticed that in the last couple of his fights he tends to
got hurt by Matt Brown. Remember late as well.
He gets hurt and he gets tired going down for these, and I just think that Woodley, he's savvy at this stage now as the defending champion. He has too much power, and I just think he could get it done that way. I think he'll fight off the takedowns. He'll do it that way, and he'll get the victory in the fourth round by TKO or finish as well. So that's what I'd be looking at. Let's talk about the one that. How many times has this been in the making, this fight? They were throwing punches at press conference. They were doing nothing but throwing insults on Facebook and Instagram and everything. It nearly got to the stage of your mom is so fat at this stage. But Daniel Cormier takes on Jon Jones in the fight, I think, that has made this division in some way. It's given Jon Jones needed somebody to challenge him. DC has been there. He's calling him out after his victories. But it goes down on Saturday night. How do we see it going? What's the path to victories? Who wins?
Okay. So, the you know how I feel about pound for pound all time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see it. Let's see it now. I'll give you a brief history, and I'm not gonna throw anyone under the bus, and I'm gonna keep things that were in the gym. But I've known Jon Jones since before he was Jon Jones. Not well. He's not my friend. I never had his cell number and text him. We weren't BFFs. But I knew enough to know that he wasn't what he was being portrayed to be. Ever. Never. Not from day one. And the minute you gave that guy a little leash, he took a lot of leash, right? So I think it's important to set up this context. Who's to say he wasn't PEDing it the whole way through? He had, and this is a technical, ridiculous thing to kind of bring up, but it'll make sense. He had visible gynecomastia earlier. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
The boob thing, is it?
Yeah, bitch tits they call it.
Bitch tits. Yeah.
And it's from doing too much steroids. I mean, you don't get that as an adult. You can get it as a kid naturally. You will not get that in your adult life naturally. So it's an overflux of testosterone without balancing out your estrogen, and that's a result of it. Now, why I know that, who knows? But the point is, I do know it, and I think to discredit all of his fuck-ups, whether or not they're drinking or whoring or whatever, is a tad disingenuous. You might be just rooting for him. And his last fight, since he's only fought with USADA Rose once, right? I think.
Yeah, probably.
His last fight was only one, I think. Yeah. He looked like shit, I thought, in that fight. I wasn't impressed at all.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the potential greatest of all time, hands down, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's see. Because Cormier he's not the prettiest fighter, man. I don't mean his face, but like his style. But he's a grinder. That guy's just, and I don't mean grinder like doughy. I just mean he grinds.
That's what I'm elsewhere.
On terrible jokes today, Jesus Christ. But he's got phenomenal, obvious Olympic level wrestling, and his dirty boxing and his clinch work is brilliant. Although Jones does all of that well too. We're gonna see which of the two both show up. I feel like in the first fight, it was way closer than people remember. I think people remember that being this astounding, fatality victory. It was not that at all. It was a close fight.
Yeah.
I don't know that you could make a case for Cormier winning, but it was close. It was a close fight. I think the takedown got in his head way too much. When Jones took him down, it was like it deflated his ego entirely. And hopefully that's gone, because that's the whole thing. This is the thing that keeps coming up, it seems. But the anger thing, right? Jones seems like he just is like, DC, you're corny. That's how he looks at him. Whereas DC's like, don't you ever talk about my hairline. Whatever he says, he's like, it gets him. It gets under his skin. Yeah. And you gotta put that shit aside. You know what I mean? You got to fight level-headed. He's talented enough to absolutely grind Jones out. Because Jones off his back, you just don't see. And if anyone's going to get him there, in that division anyway, it's going to be DC. If that happens, we got to fight, boys. If it stays standing and kind of clinch friendly, especially in the what I would call the open field, right, away from the cage, then Jones might be, you know, just picking him apart. He's so goddamn long, you know, 88-inch reach, I think, or something like that, and his legs are, I think, my height, and I'm not short, by the way. He's a freak. But I just was so unimpressed with his last fight. If it weren't for that fight, I'd go, it'd be hard to pick against Jones, right? Because we've seen that, right? I don't know. I don't know. PEDs certainly work. They'd be legal if they didn't, right? Yeah. And if he was on them, and now he's got to fight a DC who's, by most accounts, probably been natural his whole life, right? He certainly doesn't look like a Muscle Beach guy. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a battle of ego. Honestly, I think it's whoever. If DC can keep his ego in check and stick to a game plan, because Jon, has tendencies to get flashy when he shouldn't, and underestimate certain people. I don't know that he'll necessarily underestimate DC. He did it with Gus, in that fight he almost lost. Some think he did. Course, It's gonna be that the old proverb that I used before Conor versus Diaz won with pride goeth before the fall, It's going to be who's more mindful of their own pride. And I don't want to make it too much about psychology as technique, but we kind of know what both bring. It's just how much athleticism will Jones have now. Definite, well, you hope clean, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting in a lot of ways. From distance, Jones picks him apart easy.
Yeah.
If DC closes the gap, keeps his hands nice and tight, not distracted by nonsense, and gets in close, he can do a lot of damage, as we've seen him do to everyone else but Jones.
An important note, I think, heading into this one as well, is if you look back at when Jon Jones fought OSP, and he had that pretty terrible performance, as you said, it wasn't good. He didn't look great. We obviously said, ring rust is a thing. It's an exact identical amount of time since he last fought OSP compared to that fight. So he's been out for a year and 3 months, the exact same. So I think you have to take that into account. If he looked that bad and he is putting it down, which he did say after the fight, it was ring rust. It's the same amount of time. It's the same amount of time that he's going to be out. You have to take that into account. And I think, as you said, the first fight was definitely closer than a lot of people were saying. I watched that the other night, and that was a close fight. Yeah. I definitely scored it for Jon Jones, but that was a close fight.
It was the dirty boxing of Cormier that was where you're like, oh. I mean, it never kind of came to fruition, but it was there.
He had that collar tie. He had that collar tie up there, and he was throwing that uppercut, and it was landing a lot.
The Randy Couture 101. He does that phenomenally.
Yeah.
If he can link that to his wrestling, right? You need to link the two. You can't be predictable with Jones because he's so freaking unpredictable. Yeah. If you're predictable with him, he pattern recognizes like no one else. Because steroids are not. That's in your brain. His creativity and everything. That's his mind. Yeah. That has nothing to do with a needle. But if Cormier is smart and switches things up, I don't know. I heard Kane's been out of his whole camp, and Rockhold's kind of MIA for like the last 8 years. I don't know what the hell's going on with them, but the point is if he game plans correctly and he can chain those two, but it's distance. He has to get past that. Those, Chaspas is the real name, but everyone knows it as an oblique kick. He's got to, and if you do get hit by one, don't panic. You've got to. I don't know if you're him. Maybe you come out super aggressive for the first round to see if you can, if ring rust is real and he acknowledged it. Rogan I don't know if he said it publicly or if he said it to me, but he was saying that when he was calling that fight with Cormier, that Cormier said, I wish I got to fight that Jon Jones. I would have whooped his ass. Yeah. So, well, now you have your chance after you just made that point, Rob, right? It's been just as long. I mean, who knows? Did he train harder? We don't know those things. But if we're going just on what we do know, then I think it's relevant,
I think I was a big Jon Jones fan in some ways, but I always thought he's got to embrace he's got to embrace the heel, and he started doing that. He used to drive me mad with his Bible bashing shit when everybody knew it was fake. But at the end of the day, that stuff doesn't come into fighting. I think that if you look down Jon Jones' record, the last time he had a finish, I I had it lined up there for myself, was Chael Sonnen. And that was in 2013. That was the last time that Jon Jones finished the fight. Now, you had controversial against Gustafsson. A lot of people thought he won that fight. It was a very close fight. He went to decision then with Glover Teixeira. The Daniel Cormier fight was a lot closer, as you said, both you said. And then it was Owen St. Peru. And he was a little on fleek there with that one. Now, DC, you can argue, is his last fight was in April of this year. So DC's only had one fight as well in some ways. I think the great point is with Cain Velasquez here. But I think Jon Jones is going to be incredibly motivated because it's against DC. I think he fought Owen St. Peru. He fought the opponent he was fighting. He fought at their level, and he'd done enough just to get the job.
That was short notice, wasn't it? DC fell out, and it was short notice. Was that right?
It was a short notice fight. Yeah. So I just think he fought to his level, and I think putting Daniel Cormier in front of him is going to be petrol to the fire as well. He's not going to want to lose to Daniel Cormier. All this that went on, the back and forth that went on, there's no way Jon Jones wants to lose this fight. In the same way, there's absolutely no way DC wants to lose this fight. No. So it's going to end in a draw.
Well, if he does, he's fucked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That could be it. He could retire if he loses to Jon Jones. That's not even... Yeah, that's possible.
But I wouldn't be surprised. Or move to heavyweight, but I don't know that he even wants to do that. You know.
But if you look at the first
Jones
fight,
more than Jones hates him.
Yeah. If you look at the first fight that they had, all the trash talking, all the getting into one another's head, it's all working, and DC is getting emotional in that, and he's getting annoyed. I think if you look at what Jon Jones does as well, and what he does brilliantly, like I don't think anybody else does it, is he beats opponents at their game. Like, he tends to fight, like, with DC, it's like, I'm the best wrestler, I've never been taken down, and Jon Jones proves the point, said, I'll take you down. So I just think you're going to get an insane Jon Jones with a fire burn underneath him, almost to say, I'm the king. If you go right back to when Cormier beat, was it Rumble when he called out Jon Jones, get your shit together? I think that right then, the fuel was burning there, and I think... In some ways, Jones will use his reach here. If Cormier needs to do exactly... There's no point me going into huge detail. Two users broke down beautifully. Cormier needs to implement his game plan, and he needs to do that quick in the fight. And if he doesn't, I just think Jon Jones could take off. I think it'll go to decision because I don't think Jon Jones is the finisher he was back when he first came into the UFC. I think it'll be a hard fight, and I just think Daniel Cormier is too tough of a guy to finish. So I'm going to go with Jon Jones in this. He's going to use his reach, that oblique kick that I know you hated being called. He'll implement that. He'll probably poke DC in the eyes 4-5 times. He'll implement that as well. But he will do everything. What I like about Jones is when DC closes the distance, what DC has to be careful is Jon Jones throws a beautiful tight elbow in the clinch. And his elbows can be devastating in close range. So
magical.
That's something that I think he'll implement and punish DC when they are in close. It's a fight that I can't wait to watch. In a way, if DC wins, I can see it happening, but I just think Jon Jones is on another level to DC, and I just think he's going to be fighting DC, and he'll fight to that level, and I just think it'll be the Jon Jones show.
Yeah.
Sorry. So Jon Jones.
Of course that could happen. He could finish him. I think the misnomer with Jones, I'm glad you brought that up, kind of, is that he was it was always him and GSP and Anderson for a while, right?
Yeah.
And with Anderson, I get it, kind of, but that was destroyed. And then, obviously, I have rooting interest. I don't lie about that. But when people talk about GSP not finishing, okay, let's look at Jones. Who did he finish? Read the list of the people he's finished. They're all 185ers.
Yeah. No, let me grab.
So let's be kind of honest here. He's the most massive light heavyweight ever, beating guys. The guys that he finished, all of them can make 185 now. He's not a finisher. He doesn't have that kind of power. Like against even like Rampage, that wasn't even prime Rampage. You know what I mean? He finished him via strangulation because Rampage gets to points in fights where he's like, I'm fucking bored. I want to hump an Asian chick. All right.
Quality.
I heard. I don't know what that means.
I'll allow it.
But you know what I'm saying? He's not a finisher. You're right. Yeah. But if he cuts him, if he gets him with one of them elbows early over the eye or something like that, it's bad news. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't like cuts leading to endings.
Yeah.
But he's a better striker for sure. It's distance. It's all about distance, and it's going to be all about how long that PED and how severe it was, right?
But
Because people that did that and then get off them, it's here too.
Yeah.
You know, they seem to lose a certain thing, a certain confident thing.
It's in a way as well. It's if DC can implement his game plan. If DC gets a takedown, that's big, because that was one thing in the Gustafsson fight with Jon Jones that really turned the table. That Gustafsson took takedown, Jones down, and you could see that was a holy shit moment in that fight. And he done it because Gustafsson got the takedown on numerous occasions in the fight, and that was a big thing. And I just think if DC gets him down, I think Jones would be very hard to keep down, but if there's a man to keep him down, it's DC. But I just still think I'm favouring Jon Jones.
I was with Jon Jones up until this morning. I'm going DC.
Ooh.
There's just a couple of things after rewatching the fight.
What changed your mind? Interviews or something?
No. I just rewatched the fight and I was thinking about it this morning because I knew we would have been talking about it today. And there's a few things.
You done prep work for the show?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. I rewatched a couple of fights. There was a couple of things from the fight. The first thing was the pressure that Daniel Cormier put on in those first 2.5 to 3 rounds. Probably won maybe the first 2 rounds, and then Jones kind of took off. I think Daniel Cormier this time around, he's going to be smarter with his energy. I think he's going to come in there. I still think he's going to put on a lot of pressure to try test Jones's cardio and see what he's like with the ring rust. But I think he's going to be a bit more efficient with the energy that he puts out. I think he went too much the last time, and you could see it in the 3rd and 4th rounds and the 5th rounds. 5th rounds he kind of got a second wind, but in the 4th and 3rd rounds, that's when Jon Jones was getting them takedowns. I don't think that's because Jon Jones is this much better wrestler than DC. I think that was DC tiring out, trying to conserve energy and kind of giving up those takedowns. So I think that in this one, I think Jon Jones, that time off, the PEDs, you never know. I think that just Daniel Cormier is going to come in motivated. He's going to come in with a full tank of gas. I think what he done well in the first fight, that clinch work with the collar tie, the uppercuts, he's going to continue that. I think he's going to try work his wrestling a little bit more. I think he got
link it.
Yeah,
he's got to link it.
Yeah,
you can't
100%.
just because if I use both of your points in set and then make them one, right? You got elbows and everything from Jones, right? In close, he's just as dangerous as from far if standing, or if he's in top position, he's super dangerous too. If he gets you down, he's got some kind of. If he's even in full guard, he's so long, like he did to Shogun. He'll just full on crack you. Tito Ortiz was good at that too, from full guard, just landing bombs. So there's that. So you've got to do both. You can't just clinch and dirty box. You've got to, as you're changing your level, maybe at least just threaten the fact that you're gonna. It's like a knee tap, but not necessarily the knee tap takedown. Just being literally like a drill, tapping his knees, like letting him know, because John's legs haven't gotten any stockier. It's not as though he can't take him down. It's how do you get there? It's just like striking. Wrestling isn't so different. You just got to do it in the right way.
Yeah.
Don't just shoot from a mile away. Don't just clinch and stay there content. You've got to mix those both up. And if you can keep Jones guessing a tad, if Cormier gets him down early, he's going to grind him like no one's ever done to him. And hey, if that happens, I'll tell you what, I'll make a prediction of sorts. If Cormier can do that early in the first round, or if the first round's flat and it's somewhere in the second round, then if he can do any of those above that I mentioned, and end up in that final result that I'm talking about, where he's in top position, right? Wrist control from the top, kind of Khabib, MJ, that fight, just grinding like he did the Rumble twice. Jones has never been through that. With Gus, that's not what happened. It was a boxing match almost. With Cormier, when a man does that to you, they've completely this verbiage is old, but they've imposed their will on you, and that's such a moral victory that I think you have the opposite of what happened last time, where Cormier's own mental state is going to go into flow state, and if John starts doubting himself against a guy that's on fire, that's that talented, and that can finish you that way, I can see Cormier winning that fight, and the world's going to have to figure out their pound for pound all the time list again.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Today he called himself the best ever.
Yeah.
That's why I asked that.
Yeah.
I was like, easy.
That's a good point. I think the whole wrestling, he didn't do that. He landed a couple of shots and then he kind of broke out, or Jon Jones kind of landed something as well. But yeah, I'm going with DC, man. I can just see, that's what I see.
No, I can see
at
it
the moment.
happening.
I can see.
No, I can see it happening. You know me. I'll watch a couple of interviews and I'll watch a build up and I'm like, oh man, it's DC all day.
I think as well, ring rust is a big thing. I don't think it's not there unless Jon Jones comes out like what Dominic Cruz done twice, done against Mizugaki the first time, then done against TJ the second time. Unless Jon Jones comes out like that, then I think he has a problem, because we've seen him against OSP and he looked fairly poor. He looked really flat. And if you look flat against Daniel Cormier,
I like this though.
You can't stop takedowns flat. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
not going to happen. You've got to be fleet of foot. P.S. Dominic is the exception.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exception to the rule.
That's why.
Not even close to the rule.
This is our first time doing picks in 2017.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
And the good thing is we agreed with another on the first three. We both went Manuwa, Lawler, Cyborg, but then we split the pie. And we thought, I'm not agreeing with you. I've gone Woodley, Jon Jones. You've gone Maia, DC. If you agree with Noel, a bet of €10 will get you 82 and 10 cents back. If you agree with Rob, you'll get £109.50 back. That's on paddypower.com. We will have the odds available as well, but we'll move and we'll have to do that. As we're wrapping it up, we can wrap it up and give a shout out to our sponsors, Fight Star Ireland, the Fighter's Choice. Everything you need under one roof, be it shin guards or groin guards, check them out. They also supply world champions. Thanks to MMAmix.com for all your MMA needs. Check them out. They're obviously good because they're with, obviously, Fight Talk. And as well to feelsupreme.co.uk for all your CBD oils and many organic and natural supplements. Check them out and use the promotional code on checkout, Fight Talk, to get 10% off all products. Check them out. Brendan Dorman, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, my man.
For sure. One real quick thing.
Go.
Cormier Jones, first time, I think he wanted to wrestle late. Switch that up this time. DC, I know you're listening, brother. Go opposite. I think last time he wanted to wear him down, then use his wrestling. This time he's going to go the opposite route. Wear him down with your wrestling first. That'll be the difference. If he does that, he can win. So, thank you guys. Much love.
Brennan, as always, absolute pleasure. Robert, as always.
One thing before we go. I know.
Will you let me wrap the show up?
I need to make an apology. Aidan on YouTube asked me to ask Brendan a question.
Oh, that's right.
But my internet is not working at the moment on my phone, so I cannot get the question.
What was it on?
I have it. Here we go. Quick one. Let me see.
Okay.
And this will prove if Aidan listens.
Question
to
for Brendan
end.
for the next time. Think of it. Would he go to many live events himself, both smaller local shows or bigger franchises like the UFC or Bellator, or would he mainly watch from home? And what's the grassroots scene like in his hometown?
That's for me now?
Yeah. Quick one.
Yeah.
Okay. I used to, before I started going to New York to train, I used to be much more involved because I did some training around here in this scene. So I would watch my teammates, of course, and then I had some people that I coached fight, so I would go to local events then. I've been to UFC events in Vegas, not when they've come around here, just it didn't kind of work out.
Yeah.
I'd like to support it more, but I have another job. I got to pay the bills, so sometimes it's tough on weekends to free up that time. It's just time. It has nothing to do with wanting to or not. But I actually, a lot of times, honestly, because of what I do, I like to watch in a comfortable setting. It's just, for me, I have to see a lot of what's going on or what am I doing, right? So, I don't know if that answers everything, but I want to support the local scene more than I do. My area is real goofy because I'm in Massachusetts, but I'm not in Boston. I'm on the other side of the state. I don't know if you guys even know what I'm saying right now, but I'm in Western Massachusetts. So where I am, there's kind of like, I would never even give them a penny of my thoughts. But there's one team that is just Walmarted, and you probably don't even know what I mean by that. But they've kind of
franchised.
Yes. And they're not all that awesome, and so there's just not enough growth in my particular wheelhouse area. It's a half-hour drive. If you go out to Boston, it's much better. But so tricky, tough to say.
There you go,
so the amateur scene needs a little work here. Thanks for the question, man. I don't know what else to say on that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a Q&A with you actually, because we're always getting them a Q&A section. Brendan, as always, man, thanks a million, and we will talk next week. All right, and thanks for tuning in. And check out, we will have an interview with Mississippi Mean, Jason the Kid Knight. So there's a little thing. Keep it out during the week. We'll release it later. We got to chat with Jason
Most
Knight
likely
today.
Wednesday.
But yeah, Rob, it's been a pleasure, my man. This has been 75, and we're out, and enjoy the fights.